Save Plus program and unlock massive savings.
Just call 1-855-848-4307 now to get started. It's that easy.
By switching to a lower cost insurer, you could secure $710 in annual savings simply by being a safe driver and having low annual mileage. But here's the catch. You must call before 8 p.m. tonight to lock in your eligibility. After that, the call center closes and you may miss out. Don't let auto insurance inflation drain your wallet. With costs soaring over 200.
Welcome back to The Auto Show. Today, we're taking a first look at the all-new, completely redesigned 2025 Chevrolet Avalanche, a legendary name making a powerful comeback in the pickup truck market. The Chevrolet Avalanche first hit the roads in 2001, and it quickly gained a loyal following. Designed to be a versatile, family-friendly truck, it blended the practicality of an SUV with the ruggedness of a pickup. After production stopped in 2013, the Avalanche became a classic, loved by owners who appreciated its adaptability and style. But now, Chevy's bringing back this icon, better and bolder than ever. This 2025 model represents a perfect fusion of modern design, cutting-edge technology, and the robust utility you expect from a truck. It's not just an update, it's a complete transformation. Built on Chevrolet's latest platform, the new Avalanche offers impressive performance both on and off the road. Step inside and you'll immediately notice how far the Avalanche has come. The interior is a blend of high-end comfort and state-of-the-art tech. It features a spacious cabin with premium materials, a fully digital 12-inch instrument cluster, and a massive 15-inch infotainment display, supporting wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Plus, with over-the-air software updates, this truck keeps getting smarter as you drive. Under the hood, the 2025 Avalanche packs serious power. Chevy offers two engine options: a 5.3-liter V8 engine producing 420 horsepower, and a turbocharged 3.0-liter inline-six diesel with 460 lb-ft of torque, giving you plenty of muscle for towing, off-roading, or just cruising down the highway. And for those seeking a greener option, an all-electric version of the Avalanche is rumored to be in the works. Built on GM's Ultium platform, towing and payload capacity, the new Avalanche delivers. It can tow up to 8,700 pounds and has a payload rating of 1,500 pounds. It also includes a variety of smart trailering technologies, such as advanced rear-view cameras and integrated brake controller, making it easier to haul even the heaviest loads with confidence. And remember what made the original Avalanche so unique? The midgate system is back. This versatile feature allows you to extend the truck bed into the cabin by folding down the rear seats, transforming your 5-foot 4-inch bed into a nearly 8-foot cargo space. Perfect for those larger hauls when you need more room but don't want to sacrifice passenger space. Chevy is offering the 2025 Avalanche in several trims, each catering to different lifestyles. From the rugged Z71 off-road model with skid plates, all-terrain tires, and suspension upgrades, to the top-tier High Country Edition with chrome accents and premium leather interiors. There's an Avalanche for everyone, whether you're looking for off-road adventure or refined luxury. Safety has been a priority in the redesign as well. The Avalanche is packed with advanced driver assist features, including automatic emergency braking, adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, and Chevy's Super Cruise hands-free driving system on select highways. It's a truck that not only performs but protects. With its bold new look, innovative features, and unmatched versatility, the 2025 Chevrolet Avalanche is truly a truck designed for the modern driver. Whether you're heading into the mountains for a weekend getaway or navigating the city streets, the Avalanche has everything you need and more. So what do you think of the 2025 Chevy? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more reviews, and stay tuned for our next video where we dive even deeper into the latest automotive trends and news. Thanks for watching The Auto Show.
Who, a beast? Is that her? That's her? That ain't his mama. Oh, yes, the lake that is his mama. His mama tied that up.
Welcome back to Auto Analysis. Today, we're diving into one of the most iconic muscle cars in automotive history, the 2025 Chevy Camaro Z28. This car has always stood for pure performance, and the 2025 model delivers a combination of power, precision, and cutting-edge technology. Let's break down everything that makes the Z28 an absolute monster on the road and track. At the heart of the 2025 Camaro Z28 is an incredible 6.2-liter LT5 V8 engine, pushing out an impressive 650 horsepower and 650 pound-feet of torque. This is the same engine that powers Chevy's top-tier performance vehicles, and it's all about raw, unfiltered power. Coupled with a 7-speed manual transmission, for those who want complete control, or an optional 10-speed automatic, the Z28 can handle whatever driving style you prefer. This Camaro isn't just about straight-line speed, though. It can hit 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 3.5 seconds, but its real strength lies in handling and control. With magnetic ride control and a performance-tuned suspension, the Z28 offers incredible agility and responsiveness, making it equally comfortable tearing up the track or taking on twisty roads. Chevy didn't just throw a big engine under the hood. They've completely optimized the Z28's aerodynamics. The front splitter, rear carbon fiber wing, and carefully sculpted body lines are all designed to reduce drag and increase downforce. This means more grip at higher speeds and better stability when you're pushing the car to its limits. The carbon fiber hood isn't just for looks. It features functional air extractors that help keep the engine cool, even under extreme conditions. Every inch of this car is engineered for performance. To match its blistering performance, the Z28 is equipped with carbon ceramic Brembo brakes that provide outstanding stopping power. These brakes are specifically designed to handle high-speed deceleration and extreme conditions without fading. Paired with Multimatic DSSV dampers, the suspension is built for superior handling, offering both comfort and precision lean. The result is a car that feels just as comfortable attacking corners as it does on a straightaway. Whether you're on the track or just cruising through city streets, the Z28's handling and braking give you total confidence. Step inside the 2025 Camaro Z28 and you're greeted by a performance-focused cockpit that doesn't sacrifice comfort. The Recaro racing seats not only provide excellent lateral support during aggressive driving, but they also offer enough comfort for long road trips. The interior is designed to keep the driver fully in control, with a flat-bottom steering wheel and performance-tuned pedals. Tech-wise, the Z28 doesn't disappoint. The 8-inch Chevrolet Infotainment 4 system includes support for Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and integrated navigation. Chevy has also included a Bose premium sound system, though with an exhaust note like this, you might not even need it. When it comes to track performance, the 2025 Z28 is built to dominate. Chevy has lightened the chassis, optimized the weight distribution, and added performance tires to make sure every ounce of power is translated to the road. On the track, this car feels balanced, with the adjustable traction control system allowing you to fine-tune the car's dynamics based on your skill level. Cut to the Camaro roaring down the straight, followed by a high-speed braking sequence. If you're a true enthusiast, the track mode unlocks the Z28's full potential. With race-inspired dampers, enhanced cooling systems, and a lower ride height, this car is more than capable of delivering some serious lap times. So what do you get with the 2025 Chevy Camaro Z28? A car that's engineered for performance, honed for the track, but still practical enough for everyday use. It's a blend of old-school American muscle with modern-day technology and engineering. Whether you're after heart-pounding power, impeccable handling, or just want to own a piece of muscle car history, the Z28 checks all the boxes. Thanks for tuning in to this review of the 2025 Chevy Camaro Z28. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want to stay up to date with more in-depth car reviews, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Auto Analysis. We've got a lot more exciting content coming your way, and you won't want to miss it.
All yours.
How do you sleep at night?
On a mattress from Mattress Firm. They have a low price guarantee, so I sleep.
Get matched at Mattress Firm? Sleep at night.
This is shocking. What's so shocking about that?
Average American eats at McDonald's 55 times a year. That's like having Ronald McDonald as your personal chef for almost 2 months straight. But before you grab those car keys for another McVisit, there's something you should probably know. Remember when your mom used to say, You are what you eat? Well, if that's true, most of us are walking, talking about science experiments thanks to McDonald's burgers. Last week, I found a McDonald's burger I'd forgotten in my car from, wait for it, 3 weeks ago. The scary part? It looked exactly the same as the day I bought it. Not a spot of mold, not even a weird smell. My leftover homemade burgers turn into science projects after just 3 days. A regular burger has about 5 to 6 ingredients: meat, salt, pepper, and maybe some garlic or herbs if you're feeling fancy. But grab your reading glasses, because a McDonald's burger ingredient list reads like a chemistry textbook. We're talking about 70 different ingredients. That's not a burger, that's a science fair project that somehow ended up in the food industry. But what really gets me is the beef situation. While McDonald's claims to use 100% beef, they've mastered the art of making it taste the same everywhere. Every time. It's like they've discovered some sort of meat-flavored clone stamp tool in Photoshop, but for burgers. A friend of mine who used to work at a meat processing plant told me they use something called pink slime. Basically, all the leftover bits of meat cleaned with ammonia. Yummy, right? But the head scratcher is that these burgers are practically immortal. Scientists have kept McDonald's burgers for years, and they look practically the same as day one. One researcher in Iceland even has a burger from 2009 on display in a glass case. It looks better than I do on most Monday mornings. The burger has its own webcam and everything.
Increase your vehicle's potential during the incredible Racer Savings Sale. Save up to 30% off MSRP on your favorite brands, including Sniper E5, Flowmaster, MSD, Simpson Racing, and more. The clock is ticking, so visit your favorite retailer or go to Howie.com to get the deals before they're gone.
It's a thing of beauty.
Deliveries happen.
Hello? We didn't order that.
You sure you don't want to take it for a bounce?
Probably more famous than most Instagram influencers at this point. You might be thinking, well, maybe it's just really good preservation techniques. Sure. And maybe my cat is secretly writing a novel when I'm not home. The truth is, real food should decompose. If bacteria, which usually love a good meat feast, won't touch your burger, maybe that's nature's way of waving a big red flag. You'd think with all these chemicals, the healthiest choice would be to grab a salad instead. But McDonald's definition of healthy might just be their biggest illusion yet. 730 calories. That's how many calories are in a McDonald's Southwest salad with crispy chicken and dressing. For comparison, a Big Mac has 563 calories. You read that right. Choosing the healthy option at McDonald's is like going to a casino to save money. My friend Sarah spent an entire month eating only McDonald's salads, trying to lose weight. The only thing that got lighter was her wallet. The yogurt parfait might be the greatest magic trick McDonald's has ever pulled. It looks innocent enough. Yogurt, berries, granola. Sounds like something your fitness instructor would approve of, right? Wrong. One parfait packs 22 grams of sugar. That's more than 2 Krispy Kreme glazed donuts. They've basically created a dessert and convinced everyone it's a breakfast health food. That's not marketing. That's straight up sorcery. The psychology behind these healthy menu items is brilliant in an evil genius sort of way. McDonald's knows that when someone in a group wants to eat healthy, they can stop that person from vetoing McDonald's altogether. Look, we have salads, they say. It's like putting a treadmill in a candy store. It's not there for you to use. It's there to make you feel better about buying the candy. The only product we'll ever promote on our channel is a book by Claude Davis, a veteran prepper, about 126 superfoods and preservation methods from crisis times like the Great Depression and wartime that are impossible to find elsewhere. We decided to promote his book because we are the last generation able to share these techniques and superfoods to our children or grandchildren. It would be a shame to see this information about highly nutritious foods and preservation methods to survive crises disappear. You can check it out in the description of this video down below. My personal favorite is their sliced apple bags. They took nature's perfect snack, cut it up, added preservatives to keep it from browning, and somehow made it less healthy than the original apple. It's like they're saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Unless it's our apple, then maybe keep the doctor's number handy. A nutritionist once told me that if you want to eat healthy at McDonald's, you should order a burger without the bun, no fries, and a water. At that point, you might as well just go home and eat a plain hamburger patty in your kitchen while staring at the wall. At least you'd save some money. And if you're thinking of treating yourself to dessert instead, good luck with that broken ice cream machine. Sorry, our ice cream machine is down. These 6 words have probably crushed more dreams than any high school rejection letter. It's become such a universal experience that people have actually created apps to track which McDonald's have working ice cream machines. That's right. There are literally tech startups dedicated to helping you find a working McFlurry. If that's not a sign of how bad things have gotten, I don't know what is. The numbers are wild. A recent survey found that about 30% of McDonald's ice cream machines are out of service at any given time. That's nearly 1/3 of all machines. If airlines had the same failure rate, we'd all still be traveling by horse and carriage. But these machines aren't actually broken most of the time. They're just throwing a tantrum. The machines are made by a company called Taylor, and they're basically the divas of the fast food equipment world. They require a 4-hour cleaning cycle every night. And if something goes they lock up tighter than Fort Knox. Only certified Taylor technicians can unlock them. And guess who makes a fortune? From repair calls, ding, 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 Taylor. A former McDonald's worker told me the secret menu of error codes on these machines is thicker than my high school chemistry textbook. There are more than 20 different error codes, and each one requires a different troubleshooting process. The poor employees often can't do anything except stare at the machine like it's a modern art piece they're pretending to understand. The whole situation has gotten so ridiculous that it's sparked multiple lawsuits. Franchise owners are suing because they're losing money. Customers are suing because they can't get their ice cream fix. And somewhere in the middle, that Taylor machine is probably laughing at all of us. At least there's one menu item you can always count on getting. Those famous fries. Though after learning what's in them, you might wish they were broken too. There's this amazing museum in Iceland that displays a McDonald's meal from their last restaurant before it closed in 2009. The fries look exactly like they did when they were served. Perfectly golden. No mold. Not even a hint of decay. My grandmother kept
the new 2024 GMC Sierra HD. Get 5.9% APR for 84 months on Sierra heavy-duty Denali models. That's over $5,300 in average finance savings.
reason I'm here is that I had a heart attack on March 1st. And at that point in time, it was a major event, and the doctors were telling my family that the next day or so that I was in critical condition.
David was all but dead on the table. His heart had stopped, and team between ACLS and CPR, medications, and Dr. Goodwin getting the artery open saved David's life.
Grandmother kept her wedding dress in pristine condition for 60 years. And these fries might give it some competition for best preserved item of the century. The curator just dusts them off occasionally, like they're some ancient artifact, which, I guess, technically, they are now, just not the kind Indiana Jones would get excited about. Here's a fun science experiment. Take some McDonald's fries and some homemade fries, put them side by side, and wait. The homemade fries will start growing things that would make a biology teacher excited within a week. But the McDonald's fries? They'll just sit there, mocking the laws of nature, looking exactly the same as they did on day one. It's like they've discovered the fountain of youth, but instead of sharing it with humans, they gave it to potatoes. A food scientist once explained to me that real potatoes contain enough moisture and nutrients to make them a paradise for bacteria and mold. But McDonald's fries go through so many processes and get loaded with so many preservatives that they're basically mummified before they even hit the fryer. They're like the ancient Egyptian pharaohs of fast food, preserved for eternity, but probably not something you want to put in your mouth. And don't get me started on the salt content. One medium serving of these eternal fries contains enough sodium to make a cardiologist faint. It's like they're trying to preserve us along with the fries. Maybe that's their secret plan. Turn all their customers into human jerky. Speaking of mysterious processed foods, have you ever wondered what you're really eating at 4 a.m. when those McNugget cravings hit? Ring, ring. Welcome to McDonald's. Would you like to try our McNuggets? Those words at 4 a.m. hit differently. We've all been there. It's the middle of the night, you're hungry, and somehow those golden nuggets of mystery meat seem like the answer to all of life's problems. But that's when the real questions start popping up in your head. What am I actually putting in my body right now? The ingredient list for McNuggets reads like a final exam in advanced chemistry. There's this one ingredient called dimethylpolysiloxane, the same stuff they put in silly putty. McDonald's says it's just an anti-foaming agent for the cooking oil. I say, if you need to add anti-foaming agents to your chicken, maybe we should reconsider our life choices. The chicken part of the McNugget makes up about half of what you're eating. The other half, a mix of corn derivatives, leavening agents, and dextrose, which is basically a fancy way of saying sugar. Yes, they put sugar in their chicken. It's like they looked at a piece of chicken and thought, you know what this needs? Everything but chicken. A food scientist once broke down the manufacturing process for me. First, they take chicken parts and grind them into a paste. Then they add stabilizers, preservatives, and flavoring. Finally, they shape this mixture into those 4 famous shapes: the bell, the bow tie, the ball, and the boot. That's right. McNuggets come in exactly 4 shapes. It's like chicken Tetris, but everything is processed into oblivion. In a blind taste test, most people can't tell the difference between a McNugget and a nugget made from compressed paper towels soaked in chicken broth. I'm not making this up. This was an actual experiment done by food researchers. Their conclusion? We're not really tasting chicken anymore. We're tasting salt, sugar, and childhood memories. But if you think the nuggets are questionable, wait until you hear about those suspiciously perfect breakfast eggs. Because those perfectly round eggs on your McMuffin have more ingredients than your grandmother's secret cookie recipe. A real egg needs exactly one ingredient, an egg. But McDonald's eggs? They've turned breakfast into a science project with nearly 20 ingredients, including something called liquid margarine. My cousin works at a food manufacturing plant that supplies McDonald's. He told me they pre-cook the eggs, freeze them, then ship them to stores where they're reheated. The eggs arrive in perfectly shaped discs, like someone took a normal egg and put it through a Play-Doh mold factory. It's the only egg I've ever seen that comes with an instruction manual. The funny part is how they market these as freshly cracked eggs. Sure, they were freshly cracked 3 weeks ago in a factory 500 miles away. The only thing fresh about them is the heating lamp they sit under. It's like calling a frozen TV dinner home-cooked because you turned on your microwave. Here's a fact that'll ruin your breakfast. Though
How do I start a savings habit?
How to start shaving a rabbit. If you want a simpler way to build a habit, a BMO savings account can help. You get a cash reward every month you save.
This year's top prize goes to BMO.
I'm just in it for the saving. But it's nice to be recognized.
here's a fact that'll ruin your breakfast. Those fluffy scrambled eggs in your breakfast burrito? They come in a milk carton, not a regular milk carton. A massive industrial-sized carton filled with yellow liquid that looks like something from a sci-fi movie. The employees just shake it up and pour it on the grill. My friend who worked the breakfast shift said it reminded her of the stuff they used to make slime with in elementary school science class. The weirdest thing about these eggs isn't even their ingredients. It's how unnaturally perfect they look. Every egg is exactly the same size, the same shape, the same yellow color. It's like they're trying to make breakfast look like an Instagram filter. In nature, no two eggs are identical. At McDonald's, they've somehow managed to clone breakfast. Speaking of making things look perfect, you wouldn't believe the tricks McDonald's uses to get you to spend more money. Let's start with the color. Red and yellow will make you hungry. That's not just a random design choice. That's science. McDonald's picked these colors back in the 1960s because research showed they trigger appetite. It's like they're playing Hunger Games with our brains, and we're all tributes who volunteered without knowing it. Their menu screens are basically a masterclass in money extraction. They put the most profitable items at eye level, right where your eyes naturally land. Those cheap dollar menu items? They're hiding in the corner like teenagers who didn't get invited to prom. A marketing expert once told me that McDonald's rearranges their menu boards more often than I rearrange my furniture, all based on what they want us to buy that month. And don't get me started on their value meals. The only real value is the extra profit they make. Here's some math that'll blow your mind. Buying items separately often costs less than the combo meal. But we're all programmed to think combo total savings, like it's hardwired into our DNA. Last week, I ordered everything separately and saved $2.47. Not exactly retirement money, but hey, that's like half a gallon of gas these days. The most impressive is their use of smells. Those vents pumping out French fry aroma? They're strategically placed to hit you right when you're deciding what to order. My car automatically turns into the drive-through lane whenever it smells those fries. I'm pretty sure McDonald's has trained it like Pavlov's dog. Studies show that 70% of McDonald's customers end up spending more than they planned, just because of how the menu is designed. The "would you like to supersize that?" The question alone boosted their profits by millions before they officially retired it. Now they just have different words for the same trick. Would you like to make that a large? Same game, new name. But what happens when you finally break free from the golden arches? Well, my friend tried it for a month, and the results were pretty shocking. My friend thought quitting McDonald's for a month would be easy. 3 days in, his car was still automatically turning into the drive-through lane, like it was possessed by the ghost of Ronald McDonald. Old habits die hard, especially when they're deep-fried. But then, the changes started rolling in faster than a drive-through order timer. His wallet got fatter. Those cheap meals were actually costing him about $200 a month. The physical changes came next. That puffy, "I just woke up in a salt mine" look disappeared from his face. His skin cleared up like he'd discovered some expensive beauty secret. Nope, just the magic of not eating food that has more preservatives than a mummy's tomb. His blood pressure dropped so much that his doctor called to make sure the reading wasn't a mistake. An average McDonald's meal packs about 1,200 milligrams of sodium. That's more than half your daily limit in one sitting. By the end of the month, Tom had lost 11 pounds without changing anything else in his routine. Did my friend swear off McDonald's forever? Not exactly. He still goes occasionally. He's human after all. But now it's a conscious choice, rather than an autopilot response to hunger. As he puts it, it's like that ex you know isn't good for you. You might grab coffee once in a while, but you're not giving them a key to your house again.
On one dark and stormy night, a mad scientist at Cornell University, hidden from the prying eyes of both polite society and the law, pieced together a veritable Frankenstein's monster from assorted chicken parts and a never-before-seen batter coating. He called his new creation the Chicken Crispy. But unlike the batter, the crispy name would not stick. When this new creation was finally unveiled to the public, it had an all-new identity, and soon, every man, woman, and child across America would know its name. Today, we're dunking into the sweet and sour history of chicken nuggets. All right, get your McNugget buddies in a row, and don't let them see the dipping sauce. During the Second World War, the U.S. military seized much of America's red meat supply, and citizens at home were made to ration what was left over. While this caused some to buy their beef and pork from black market meatleggers, a name which makes them sound more whimsical than they probably were, many instead turned to the military's unwanted, unrationed meat supply, fresh poultry. Soon, farmers began raising more and more chickens to meet this increased demand, and many began breeding their birds bigger and better than ever before. While in the war's final months, the U.S. military jumped on this growing market, driving chicken sales to their highest levels yet. Victory in Japan brought with it beef's heroic return to the home front. Chicken sales quickly plummeted. Then there was an immediate issue of too much supply and too little demand. For the decade and a half that followed, chicken farmers struggled to sell their birds. Whole chickens were too big for individuals to eat on their own, but too small for the sudden baby boom and the big families that came with it. Enter Cornell professor Robert C. Baker. Baker was a poultry fanatic, and he wanted his fellow countrymen to be just as passionate about chicken and turkey as he was. He'd previously worked outside of Ithaca, New York, and he'd seen firsthand how chicken farmers were struggling to get by. Baker knew that if these poultry pushers wanted to survive, they need to make better use of their birds. His solution? Increased processing, allowing more parts of the bird to be used than ever before. The chickens were less excited about this breakthrough. After receiving his doctorate in food sciences from Purdue University in 1956, Baker headed to a basement lab at Cornell, wherein he devised all sorts of new and innovative ways to make use of chicken. Over the course of his career, Baker would be credited with producing nearly 300 research papers and developing over 40 different poultry-related innovations, including the first ever chicken hot dogs and the ever-popular turkey ham, just like Mom used to make. Still, none of his other creations would reach the cultural ubiquity of his finest invention, the chicken nugget. While singular in its delectable scrumptiousness, the chicken nugget accounted for not just one of Baker's innovations, but three. It all started in 1963, when Baker was joined by his protege, Joseph Marshall, while attempting to solve two separate age-old problems. How can you make ground chicken meat stick together without using the skin? And how do you create a breading for it that's simultaneously freezable and able to be deep fried? It's harder than it sounds. What they came up with was a grain, vinegar, salt, and milk powder concoction to bind the meat, and an egg and grain-based mixture for the breading. And thus, in April of that year, without bothering to patent his newfound invention, Baker published the world's first ever chicken nugget recipe under the name of Chicken Krispies in Cornell University's Food Science Bulletin, Agricultural Economics Research. That issue of Agricultural Economics Research, in turn, was mailed out to about 500 different companies around the country, and it wasn't long before all the usual suspects began claiming that it was them who'd invented the original chicken nugget, leaving Baker, for a time, a mere footnote in the extra crispy history of processed chicken. In the 1970s, America began to fear red meat. People were concerned that beef consumption was leading to high rates of heart disease. All these cigarettes that were being sold at the time probably didn't help either, but those are easier to hide around the house than cheeseburgers. So in 1977, Congress released the Dietary Goals of the United States. These goals encouraged citizens to forego red meat and to instead eat leaner proteins, like chicken and fish. While following these guidelines may have led to a healthier population in the past, the rise of processed poultry virtually canceled out any health benefits acquired from making the switch. Science never got in the way of the U.S. government, though, and red meat sales soon fell. Many fast food joints, dependent on burger sales to stay afloat, began to panic. They needed to pivot fast in order to keep things running. To this end, McDonald's led the charge, charge, hiring famed chef Rene Arend for the job. He's the guy who designed the McRib for them, among other things. Rene's first ideas were a saucy fried chicken breast and a chicken pot pie, both of which the clown quickly shut down. The company then tried their first shot at the McChicken sandwich, the only menu item at McDonald's nobody wants to eat. But after disappointing sales, they pulled the McChicken from stores entirely. McDonald's Big Cheese, Ray Kroc, apparently feeling defeated after these false starts, asked Rene to switch gears and to work instead on making a bite-sized onion ring, as if that would save the struggling Golden Arches. Not all of his ideas were great. Just ask the San Diego Padres. Kroc called this idea the onion nugget.
This is an onion ring that has been made easier to consume.
And the history of humanity nearly took an entirely different direction. For a brief period, onion nuggets even got a limited release, being sold at McDonald's locations in the late 70s for 45 cents a serving. But then chairman of McDonald's, Fred Turner, had different plans for us all. According to legend, he was still hell-bent on a chicken idea, and one day he wondered aloud, "Oh, why not a chicken nugget?" He makes an excellent point. Chef Rene Arend ran straight up to the kitchen, chopped up some chicken, battered it, fried it up, and voila! The Chicken McNugget was born. After over a year of tinkering with the recipe, McDonald's got in contact with Keystone Foods, the food processing company that already provided them with their frozen burgers, and asked that they start providing tiny chunks of processed chicken as well. Then they also contacted Gordon's, famed for their frozen fish sticks, to provide the company with the perfect batter. And thus, in 1981, the same year that Rene created his infamous McRib, Chicken McNuggets found their place in Knoxville area test markets, and the sales were unlike anything McDonald's had seen before. Mickey D's knew they had a hit on their hands, and that they needed a bigger chicken supplier if they wanted to produce their McNuggets globally. So they hit up Tyson Foods. Tyson, in turn, bred for the task an entirely new kind of chicken. They called this new bird breed Mr. McDonald, and it was identifiable by its ginormous breasts, which were even bigger than the breasts of Tyson's famed Chicken of Tomorrow breed. Once scientifically perfected, these Mr. McDonald's chickens were then sent to processing plants all across America and were ground into 4 different nugget shapes: the bone, which is sometimes called the bow tie, the bell, the ball, and the boot, all of which were standardized to ensure consistent cooking times, and all of which are still made to this day. Finally, in 1983, the Chicken McNugget, with its barbecue, hot mustard, and sweet and sour sauces in tow, was ready for its global debut, the shock waves of which would soon upend the fast food industry forever. Within the first few months of the Chicken McNuggets release, McDonald's grew into the second largest chicken retailer in the world, trailing behind only KFC. In fact, the Chicken McNugget proved so successful that many mistakenly came to believe that it was the clown himself who'd invented the chicken nugget. Should have gotten that patent, baby. What's more, before the end of the 80s, McDonald's decided to double down on chicken and gave the McChicken sandwich another shot. And then, in 1988, the McChicken made its triumphant return. People seemed to want it this time around, and while it would briefly be pulled again in 1996, the McChicken had otherwise finally found its footing and was on the menu to stay. Meanwhile, other fast food chains took note of McDonald's chicken-based success and wanted in on the action too. Just 2 years after McDonald's released their McNuggets, Burger King, ever the royal copycat, came out with their first ever nugget lineup, and Wendy's and KFC soon followed suit. All the while, Chick-fil-A, which first opened its doors in 1946, claims to have beaten McDonald's to the nugget game by a whole year. On their corporate website, they claim to have first started selling nuggets in 1982 at the request of their patrons. And they soon after not only sold nuggets by the half dozen, but in huge party quantities as well. And if you ask us, that's the only size they should come in. Regardless of who was the very first to sell them, chicken nugget madness had taken over the fast food industry. And it wasn't long before home-baked nuggets came to freezer aisles everywhere. By the late 1980s, Purdue was experimenting with all sorts of nugget options, including your standard nuggets, your star-shaped nuggets, and your football nuggets. But in 1991, they would patent their biggest nuggets of all, well, the world's first ever Dino Nuggets, which are just chicken nuggets in fun dinosaur shapes, and not actually chunks of processed stegosaur. And with Jurassic Park coming to theaters just 2 years later, Dino Nuggets were here to stay. In 1965, the average individual American ate 36.6 pounds of chicken annually. By 2020, that number had increased threefold to just shy of 100 pounds, in no small part thanks to the advent of the chicken nugget, which today yields about 2.3 billion servings each and every year. As the years wore on, though, people started to ask, what the heck's even in these things? Way back when they first came out, McDonald's advertised the McNuggets as being savory chunks of boneless white and dark meat, dipped in a specially seasoned batter and fried to a crisp golden brown. But in the 1980s, the Federal Trade Commission began investigating the McNuggets' exact makeup, just to make sure no McBeaks or McToe claws had found their way into the recipe. It turns out the original McNuggets were mostly thigh and breast meat, along with a little bit of skin and some salt. In 2003, they updated that recipe to include only breast meat. And in 2016, they updated it again to drop all artificial flavorings, colors, and preservatives. Still, a 2013 study by the American Journal of Medicine found that the nuggets from some fast food chains, while the exact restaurants in question were never specified, contain very little meat, and they instead are made up by as much as 60% fat, which, in fairness, still tastes delicious when you dip it in honey mustard. Around the same time as the study, America went through a pink slime scare, brought about by an expose which aired on ABC. The so-called slime, also known as finely textured beef or boneless lean beef trimmings, is a meat byproduct used as an additive in many processed meats.
This is not fit for human consumption.
Many swore off McNuggets right then and there, even though McNuggets were not and never have been made with the stuff. The McNugget had another brief setback in 2015, when one of their chicken suppliers was found to be engaged in horrific treatment of their animals. But McDonald's and Tyson both distanced themselves from said suppliers, and they've been on the upswing ever since. More recently, in 2022, TikToker Nick DiGiovanni and celebrity chef Linja teamed up to make the world's largest chicken nugget.
This nugget is almost as big as Linja.
What they made ended up at over 46 pounds and utilized 40 pounds of ground chicken, 40 eggs, half a gallon of milk, and 40 slices of bread. And while something so big no longer qualifies as a nugget, that didn't stop Nick and Linja from busting out the confetti and calling up Guinness. Now they just need a gigantic tub of ranch. When it comes to things people are pretty sure they don't want to know, what's really in a hot dog almost certainly tops that list. But our job is to be frank about such matters, so whether you've ever wanted to hear about it or not, today we're going to take a look at what's actually in a hot dog. Okay, get ready, because we've really been relishing this one. For those of you who are unfamiliar with American cuisine, or just take things too literally, a hot dog is not made for, by, or most importantly, from dogs.
Hot diggity dog, hot dog, hot dog, hot diggity dog.
So, what is it? It's a sausage that's been boiled, steamed, or grilled, and then served resting in the open part of a partially sliced bun, usually with condiments like ketchup or mustard, and toppings like onions and sauerkraut. There are several theories as to who was the first person to put hot dogs in buns, but the meat itself probably traces its origin to Germany. Well, sausages actually go all the way back to ancient Mesopotamia, but this particular style of cased sausage is likely German. At least, the Germans think so, although they can't agree on where in Germany it's from. One theory holds that it was Frankfurt, which is why they're sometimes called Frankfurters. Another theory holds that it was Vienna, which is why they're sometimes called Wieners. Hamburg stayed out of it because, obviously, they have their own meat thing going on there. Given they already had two names, you're probably wondering who decided to also call them hot dogs, and why. Well, once again, it starts with the Germans, only this time it was German immigrants in New York in the 19th century who sold sold them as Dachshund sausages, likely due to the resemblance to the breed of doggo that goes by that name. It's from the name Dachshund sausages that the name hot dog was ultimately derived, although a 19th century era belief that they were actually made from dog may have also played a role. Due to the fact that so many of those early vendors were Jewish butchers who observed kosher laws, American hot dogs tended to be all beef, as opposed to their German predecessors, which usually also contained pork. People must have liked the change because despite America having a pretty iffy relationship with Germany for the first half of the 20th century, the hot dog quickly became an American icon. Early hot dog vendors often sold their food from carts and are responsible for the long-time association of hot dogs with street food and carts. Cheap, fast to prepare, and easy to eat on the go, hot dogs were a perfect food for an increasingly urbanized nation. And hot dog carts are still common in cities all over the world today. But those street vendors were really only the beginning. Starting in the 1870s, iconic hot dog stands at New York's Coney Island, especially one owned by German immigrant Charles Feltman, started to create a popular association between hot dogs and leisure. That association is likely why hot dogs became common fare at baseball games, at least as early as the 1890s. And they were already wildly popular by the time of the 1893 World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago, where thousands of them were served. Incidentally, many of those were served by a company owned by a local German immigrant butcher who had a first name. It was Oscar. He also had a second name. It was Mayer. And Oscar Mayer had a way with selling meat products with his name on them at public events. The association of hot dogs with public events only continued to grow, and by the 1920s, people were eating them at everything from horse races to circuses to county fairs. Seriously, wieners were everywhere, and a big part of the credit for that has to go to a Polish immigrant named Nathan Handwerker, who opened a little place called Nathan's Famous Hot Dog Stand at Coney Island in 1916. Handwerker charged 5 cents when his competitors were charging 10, and he quickly drove them out of business. By the time of the Great Depression, Nathan's hot dogs were famous throughout the nation. And by the mid-30s, Oscar Mayer was mass-producing hot dogs for supermarkets and promoting them with a Wienermobile. Yeah, it's that old. The hot dog was becoming so mainstream that President Franklin Roosevelt served 2 of them to King George VI of England and his queen at a picnic in 1939. George, for the record, seemed to dig them.
Welcome back to Papa John's. I'm hand stuffing this mozzarella to make our epic stuffed crust pizza.
Epic.
Hey, we're making you an epic stuffed crust pizza for $13.99.
Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Grilling hot dogs is so deeply associated with the 4th of July. You'd think George Washington was cooking up a barbecue full of ballpark Franks at Mount Vernon while Jefferson, Adams, and Hamilton stood close by drinking beer out of camouflage cans. But the truth is, Independence Day cookouts have more to do with the suburbs than the Revolution. After World War II, Americans were flush with cash, and they started moving out to the suburbs where everybody had their own little backyard. Those backyards were the perfect place for hosting barbecues, and due to their pre-existing popularity at public events, hot dogs quickly became a cookout staple, and that included the big cookouts like those thrown for the 4th of July. The association between hot dogs and America took root.
Oh my God, you look like the 4th of July. It makes me want a hot dog real bad.
And today, Americans consume somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 million hot dogs on the 4th of July alone. In fact, hot dogs are an almost ubiquitous part of American culture, and every city has its own style. In New York, they're usually topped with a spicy brown mustard, sauteed onions, or sauerkraut. Whereas in Chicago, they come in a poppy seed bun with a mountain of toppings like tomato, pickle spears, sweet onions, hot peppers, and relish. Atlanta tops their dogs with cool, crunchy slaw, while Detroit prefers theirs covered in beef chili, shredded cheddar, and raw onions. In San Francisco, you might get one with creamy mayo and smoky bacon, which also happens to be popular in southwestern cities. In Tucson and Phoenix, for example, people enjoy a hot dog that's wrapped in bacon, topped with pinto beans, mayo, mustard, onion, chopped tomatoes, and jalapenos. Hot dogs in Milwaukee are often served on a toasted hard roll rather than a traditional hot dog bun, and they can be topped with butter, mustard, pickles, and sauerkraut. And the people of New Jersey also like to mix things up. In Newark, for example, hot dogs can come on an Italian roll with peppers, onions, and fried potatoes. According to Nathan Handwerker held his first 4th of July hot dog eating contest way back in 1916 as a way to settle a bet between 4 immigrants who each claimed to be more patriotic than each other. If that sounds too incredible to be true, well, that's because it is. While there certainly were hot dog eating contests, at least as early as the 1920s, there's not a lot of evidence Nathan's held one until 1967, and they didn't start the 4th of July tradition until 1972. Nonetheless, it's generally considered to be a marketing bonanza for the company and has drawn big ratings for ESPN, who recently signed up to televise the contest at least through 2029. The always colorful competition has been especially controversial as of late due to the 2024 banning of 16-time champion Joey Chestnut, arguably the greatest professional eater in the world.
Which mother on this earth can suck down the most amount of hot dogs and buns? And it's always one name. Joey Chestnut.
Chestnut was locked out of the competition after signing a deal with Impossible Food, which manufactures plant-based hot dogs. Since the hot dog eating contest is supposed to promote Nathan's brand, Major League Eating prohibits Chestnut from endorsing a second hot dog maker, and his new deal therefore meant he couldn't compete. Making the best of a bad situation, Chestnut instead opted to compete in an eating contest at Fort Bliss, where he helped raise over $100,000 for Operation Homefront. Given that Chestnut is pretty much the LeBron James of pro eaters, and their contest is far less of a spectacle without him, we wouldn't be shocked if Nathan's pulled out all of the stops to get him back in the fold. Of course, it asks the question, why would Joey Chestnut, of all people, look for an alternative to good old hot dogs, the meat that made him famous? Is it a truckload of money, or because he thinks something could be wrong with hot dogs? For as long as there have been hot dogs, there have been people who suspected that hot dogs were filled with the most disgusting ingredients they can possibly think of, and with good reason. Upton Sinclair's famous 1905 meat industry expose, The Jungle, confirmed that early 20th century meatpacking plants were a nightmare, routinely using super shady ingredients like sawdust and horse meat, and a whole bunch of other nasty things we won't name in case you're eating, including entire workers. After that, meatpacking plants were regulated and had to abide by strict guidelines designed to protect consumers from eating anything too disgusting. A few unfortunate things have still slipped into the mix here and there. For example, Americans have reported additional ingredients including hair, metal shavings, ants, silverfish, insect larvae, a rubber band, needles, a coin, a pill, bone, wire, plastic, and part of a box cutter.
You know what they make those things out of, huh, Chet? You know? Lips and ass.
Despite how this makes it sound, such ingredients are extremely rare. As of 2015, out of the billions of hot dogs sold and consumed nationwide, the U.S. government had just 38 reports of foreign objects found in hot dogs. So that must mean hot dogs aren't as bad as you think, right? Well, here are some facts, and then you can decide. The USDA says that at least 54.5% of a hot dog must be real meat. So those dogs you buy at the supermarket probably are really made of beef, chicken, pork, or turkey, but they're often made from what they call call the trimmings of the animal. Those are the meat cuts discarded by the slaughterhouse, which include things like fatty tissue, sinewy muscle, liver parts, and sometimes even meat from the animal's head. That's the smartest meat. That stuff is then cooked to kill bacteria, turned into a paste via emulsion, mixed with any number of filler products, and then pureed and stuffed into a sausage case. Some flavoring and preservatives are usually thrown in there for a good measure. And while there's a little more to it, that's essentially how every hot dog is born. Of course, some products are definitely manufactured at higher levels of quality than others. For example, if the words variety meats or meat byproducts appear in the list of ingredients, there's a good chance your dog contains heart and other organ material. Conversely, if it says something like all beef or all pork on the package, you're probably okay on that front. And if it doesn't say it's all natural, then there's probably MSG and additives like nitrates in it. That being said, many have pointed out that by allowing the consumption of parts that would have otherwise been discarded, hot dogs make animal consumption more sustainable for society. And additives like nitrates actually prevent botulism. So picking the right hot dog for you might be more complicated than it seems. Maybe next time just go for the chicken fingers? Spam is easily the most famous meat that comes in a can. Some find it a revolting pile of sludge. Others swear by it as a delicious mealtime staple. But where did this mystery meat come from? And how has it stayed so popular? Today, we're uncovering the history of Spam. Okay, time to pull open this tin of salty treats. And we don't need sardines. Back in the early 1900s, no one wanted to eat pork shoulder. It was tough and required a long time to cook. Plus, it's where the pigs tended to get their most ferocious tattoos. Nowadays, pork shoulder is a crock pot staple, but slow cookers were still decades away. In the meantime, pork distributors had to find